Hare Krishna, dear devotees, please accept our humble obeisances. Our glories to the Vipuration of Prabhupada, our glories to assembled Vaishnava devotees. We thank you all for being here today. It's Wednesday, the 17th day of September 2025. Our scheduled speaker couldn't be here today. She shared with us, and we also trying to get this across to the devotees that the speaker couldn't be here because she has a son admitted to the hospital who is to undergo a surgical operation today. So we ask for the mercies and the prayers of all the Vaishnava devotees to pray for this particular soul to have a successful procedure. And of course, SALIKA inconveniently has again sacrificed to step in to render this service. So again, SALIKA Prabhu, thank you for this service. And we may put the rest on the screen and you take it over here. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavati Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritam Naraichaivam Narutama Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tatujaya Mudiraye Nasta Praisu Abhadresu Nityam Bhagavatam Sevaya Bhagavati Uttamasloke Bhakti Bhagavati Naistiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 12. We'll be reading text number 42 through to text number 47. Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, chapter 12, text number 42. And the text number 42 says, Savitram Prajapatyam Cha Brahmam Chata Briatata Valta Sanchaya Saalina Siluncha Iti Vaigrihe. Translation. Then the third ceremony for the twice born was inaugurated, as were the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas. Rules for observing complete abstinence from sex life, vocations in terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in household life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without any cooperation by picking up rejected grains. During student life, the brahmacharis were given full instructions about the importance of the human form of life. Thus, the basic education was designed to encourage the student in becoming free from family encumbrances. Only students unable to accept such a vow in life were allowed to go home and marry a suitable wife. Otherwise, the student will remain a permanent brahmachari, observing complete abstinence from sex life for his whole life. It all depends on the quality of the student's training. We had the opportunity to meet an avowed brahmachari in the personality of our spiritual master, Om Vishnu Pad Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Goswami Maharaj, such a great soul, is called a Naistika Brahmachari. Text number 43. Vaikanasa Valakya Yau. Vaikanasa Valakya Dumba. Sorry. Okay. Vaikanasa Valakya Dumbara Pena Pavane Yase Kuticha Kapuvam Bhavado Amsanesh Kriyao. Translation. The four divisions of retired life are the Vaikanasas, Valakiyas, Audumbaras, and Finapas. The four divisions of the renounced order of life are the Kutichakas, Bhavodas, Amsas, and Niskriyas. All these were manifested from Brahma, the creator of the universe. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Varnashram Dham, or the institution of the four divisions and order of social and spiritual life, is not a new invention of the modern age. As proposed by the less intelligent, it is an institution established by Lord Brahma from the beginning of the creation. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text number 13, Shatuvanyam Maya Sristam. Text number 44 says, Amvik Siki Traivarta Dandaniti Tataivacha Evam Vyavaktayas Chasan Pranavo Yasya Rata. The science of logical argument, the Vedic goals of life, and also law and order, moral codes, and celebrated hymns, Bhuva and Swaha, all became manifested from the mouth of Brahma, and the Pranava Omkara was manifested from his heart. Text number 46 says, Tas Unix Nik Asip Luma Bioho Gayatri Chatwacho Vivo Tristum Mamsat Snuto Nustu Jagati Astana Prajapati. Thereafter, the art of literary expression, Usnik, was generated from the earth on the body of the Almighty Prajapati. The principal Vedic hymns, Gayatri, was generated from the skin, Tristup from the flesh, Anustup from the veins, and Jagati from the bones of the Lord of the living entities. And the text number 47, which is the last verse for today. Is it 46 now? Sorry. Majata Panki Upanam Britati Pranatu Bhavat. That's text number 36. The 46, which says the art of writing verse, Panti, became manifested from the bone marrow. And that of Briati, another type of verse, was generated from the life breath of the Lord of the living entities. Text number 47. Spasas tasya bhava jiva swarodaya udarita yusmanam indriyani ahau antasta balam atmanam. Swara saptavi arena bhavantisma prajapati. Brahma's soul was manifested as the Tosh alphabets. His body, as the vowels, its senses as the sibilant alphabets, its strength as the intermediate alphabets, and its sensual activities as the 7 notes of music. Umagianam stimirandasya. Sorry. Maganat Mirandasya Gana Ganam Shalakaya Shaksho Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Nama Sri Chaitanya Manobistam Tapistam Jena Bhutale. Oh, sorry, there is a purport. Let me read the purport before we go into the class. Sorry. There were so many verses, and I was trying to. The purport as given by his divine grace Laisi Bhaktivedanta Swami Jagrushka Prabhupada to text number 47, 12th chapter, canto number 3. In Sanskrit, there are 13 vowels and 35 consonants. The vowels are a, u, r, e, l, a, o, and the consonants are ka, ga, etc. Among the consonants, the first 25 letters are called the sparsas. There are also 4 antastas of the usmas. There are 3 s called talavya, murdanya, and dantya. The musical notes are sa, re, ga, ma, dha, and ni. All these sounds, vibrations, are originally called sabda brahma. Auspicious sound. It is said, therefore, that Brahma was created in the Mahakalpa as the incarnation of the spiritual sound. The Vedas are spiritual sound, and therefore there is no need of material interpretation for the sound vibration of the Vedic literature. The Vedas should be vibrated as they are, although they are symbolically represented with letters, which are known to us materially. In the ultimate issue, there is nothing material because everything has its origin in the spiritual world. The material manifestation is therefore called illusion in the proper sense of the term. For those who are realized souls, there is nothing but spirit. Thank you. Oma Gyanam Timirandasya Gyanam Gyanam Shalakaya Shaksho Militam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupam Kadamayam Dadati Swam Padantikam Bandhyam Sri Guru Sri Yuta Padam Kamalam Sri Guru Vaishnavamsha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganam Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sa Jivam Sadritam Sabadutam Parijanam Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakavitam Sha He Krishna Karuna Shindudina Bandhu Jagatpati Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gurangira Devi Davaneshwari Vrishabhanushite Devi Pranamami Haripi Mokankaruti Vachalam Pangam Lagayate Girim Yakripata Ambandi Sri Guru Dinatarina Vanchakarpataru Vyascha Kripa Sundubhyas Ivascha Pachitanam Pavashnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So first test is Savitam Prajapatyam Cha Brahma Chatta Priyatata Valta Sanchaya Sali Silo Cha Iti Vaigrihe. Then the thread ceremony for the verdict. The thread ceremony for the twice born was inaugurated, as there were the rules to be followed for at least 1 year after acceptance of the Vedas. Rules for observing complete abstinence from sex life. Vocation in terms of Vedic injunctions, various professional duties in household life, and the method of maintaining a livelihood without anyone's cooperation by picking up rejected grace. Hare Krishna. So once again, we welcome everyone on this platform to Srimad Bhagavatam class discussion. As you have heard the hosts explain, our dear speaker for today, Mother Jayasri, unavoidably could not be here. And because Srimad Bhagavatam cannot be stopped, it has to continue. So we have to make an endeavor to render this service to Srimad Bhagavatam for the pleasure of the Lord and his devotees. So in that spirit, we offer our respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead and beg for the shelter of the devotees so that we may be able to render this service for our purification, for the pleasure of the Lord and his devotees. So we continue our conversation from the discussion between Vidura and Maitreya Rishi Muni, discussing the subject matter of creation of Lord Brahma. And in this section that we're reading, which comprises about 6-7 verses, there are several topics in between. And when I was looking at the combination of the verses, I was wondering, how will I be able to do justice to this? Because each of the verses has a lot embedded in them. The first 2 verses, text 42 and 43, is specifically talking about the creation of the following in the previous text, which was talking about the 4 principles of religion. And it's talking here about the various ceremonies that is held in the process of Vedic injunction. According to the Vedic injunction, every human being is supposed to go through what is called samskara. And these samskaras are like what you could describe as GPS map in today's world. When someone wants to go on a journey of where he has not traversed before, he could decide to go on his own and start asking here or there, but there are very high level chances that he might miss his road. So modern technology has developed what we call the GPRS to guide. And it's interestingly, sometimes we have the GPRS, we don't follow them, and we still miss our road when we go on the journey. So the samskara or the Vedic rituals are meant to guide the living entities who have entered into the material world. What are the Vedic scriptures? Srila Prabhupada, when he started preaching in the West, he gave a powerful introduction to the Upanishad in the what are the Vedas. And Srila Prabhupada go into depth of explaining what the Vedic scriptures are and what they are meant to achieve. And as we see the creations made by Lord Brahma in this following text, Muni. What is the purpose behind Maitreya Muni explaining all of these to Vidura? when we look at the conversation from the beginning of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where Srila Vyasadeva, after compiling the Vedic scriptures for the people of this age who are in dense darkness, Vyasadeva was confused, he was bewildered, because he was not happy. And because he was thinking, I've done so much of a wonderful service, I've made available to Kali Yuga men who have no ability, capacity for being a Sritidhara. Because in the beginning of the Vedic tradition, one will hear from one guru to the other disciple the Vedic scriptures, and it will remain in their head for the rest of their life. So they will continuously remember this, and that will guide their path. But in Kali Yuga men are not able to remember. So Srila Vyasadeva done a very great service. He put the Vedic scriptures together, and he was bewildered. He was confused. Why am I not happy? To do such a service, giving knowledge, is the most wonderful service anyone can give. In fact, it is said in several places in the Vedic scriptures that there is no charity that is higher than giving Vedic knowledge. But why am I bewildered? Why am I not happy? So his spiritual master, Narad Muni, manifests before him. Because, of course, he took shelter of the right source. And that conversation continued until we get to this point. And we're still discussing this various, and this session, we're talking about the creation of Lord Brahma. And in this particular first test, we're talking about the rituals or the regulations that are supposed to be followed by a human being. In Kali Yuga, there are so many men walking the streets of the world that are less than human beings. It is said that unless one comes to the platform of at least a Shudra, is not considered to be a human being. But in Kali Yuga, we see that people are engaging, are acting, are operating on the level that is below a human capacity. What is considered to be a human being? When you look at certain characteristics or activities of living entities in this age, you wonder, are they really human beings? Because even the animals does not behave in such a manner. So this brings us to the purpose behind the Vedic scriptures, because Lord Brahma has done his perfect job. Lord Brahma knows the purpose of the Lord's creation. So for the purpose, fulfilling the purpose of Lord's creation, Lord Brahma, he created all of these arrangements. And what is the significance of all of this creation for the Kali Yuga man? In the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text number 42 downward, in the conversation between Lord Krishna and Arjuna, Lord Krishna was telling Arjuna in text number 42, he said that, Yam imam puspam vachaham, pravadanti avispasita, veda vedarata pata, naya astiti valdina. Kamatmana swaga para, yamma karma fala pradan. Kriya vishesha bahulam, bugaswaria gatim prati. The men of small knowledge who are characterized in the Kali Yuga are very much attached to the flowery words of the Vedas, which recommend various fruitive activities for elevation to heavenly planets, resultant good birth, power, and so forth. And being desirous of sense gratification and opulent life, they say that there is nothing more than this. In another verse in the Bhagavad Gita, before we come to the purport of this verse, Srila Prabhupada said, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Manushya nam sahasresu kasi yatati sidayi kasi veti what that Manushya nam sahasresu kasi what's the verse? I think Bhagavad Gita 7:3. Bhagavad Manushya nam sahasresu kasi yatati sidayi yatati sidayi kasi man veti tatwata, that out of many thousands of men who are traversing the earth, only few of them understand. They come to this level of understanding what is Vedic knowledge. So for generality of men in Kali Yuga, according to calculation, in Kali Yuga, there are presently on this planet, there are over 8 billion living entities traversing the earth. And out of billions of these living entities, there are only few who understand and know what is called Vedic knowledge, which is actually the manual for human beings. So in other words, for those who are below this standard are not able to see this, they cannot even understand what is Vedic knowledge. And when they do not have opportunity to have understanding of Vedic knowledge, what do they understand about samskara? And of this many, out of these few, out of the billions of living entity, the very scripture says one may become perfect. And out of these, those who have become perfect, there are those who come to the platform of Vedic understanding. They know the beginning of knowledge, Aham Brahmasmi. And those classes of persons is whom Lord Krishna is talking to here. That they have come to understand that the Vedic scriptures exist, but quite unfortunate, they are attracted by the flowery languages of the Vedic scriptures. Some years back, we were about celebrating Janmashtami. And so one young Indian chap came to the temple. And I said, oh, Prabhu, you're fortunate to come today. We're celebrating Janmashtami. Today is Prabhupada appearance. Yesterday was Janmashtami, but we're celebrating Janmashtami today. He said, yes, I know. He said, I'm also a Brahmana. And he raised his check up and he showed me his thread. He said, look, I'm having a thread. I'm also a Brahmin. I said, oh, very wonderful. So you're coming from a Brahmin family. Okay, Prabhu, so just a few minutes, let me finalize the arrangement I'm making. And just as I turned back, this young man went right in front of the temple, and I was wondering what he's trying to do. He opened his pocket and he brought out the pack of cigarettes and a light, and he was smoking. This is a person who just told me, I'm also a Brahman. I'm a Brahmin. So the fact is that people do not understand, even those who have come to the path of Vedic knowledge, the purpose behind the Vedic scriptures. The purpose behind the Vedic scriptures is what Srila Prabhupada gave in all of the Srimad Bhagavatam purport. So Prabhupada said in the purport to that text, 42, he said, people in general are not very intelligent. Why? Because due to their ignorance, they are most attached to the fruitive activities. These rituals that have been created by Lord Brahman in so many forms. They do not want anything more than sense gratification. And because this is their goal, they are bereft of the purpose of the Vedic scriptures. The Vedic scriptures has its purpose. In the end of the purport of this verse we're referencing, Srila Prabhupada said they are generally sensual and they do not want anything other than the heavenly pleasures of life. So it is understood that there are gardens called Nandana Kanana, Prabhupada quoted, in which there is a good opportunity for association with angelic, beautiful women. And having a profuse supply of somaras, there are some religious traditions that are very attracted to this. Their whole goal of religiosity is to go to the heavenly planet where they can get so many wives to marry. So Prabhupada is referencing that here. So short-term happiness is certainly sensual. Therefore, those who are purely attached to such material temporary happiness, they lose the purpose of the Vedic scriptures. So the Vedic scriptures, according to the Vedic conclusion or the Siddhanta of the Vedic scriptures, Lord Krishna mentions that in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, verse number 15. But in this particular text we are reading, in chapter 2 of the Bhagavad Gita, in text number 46, Srila Prabhupada makes something very nice reference. In the text number 16, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Yavan ata udapane sarvata sam tudake tava sarveshu vereshu brahma sya vijnat. That the rituals and sacrifice, that all purposes are served by a small well at once, as one served by a great reservoir of water. Similarly, all the purpose of the Vedas can be served unto one who knows the purpose behind them. So Lord Brahma is creating so many things. And when we look at all of this creation of Lord Brahma, it is so wonderful. But Lord Krishna is telling Arjuna that unless one knows the purpose behind all of this creation, which is something that is created by him, Lord Krishna, then such a person is bewildered. So Lord Krishna said that, and Prabhupada mentioned in the purport, that the ritual and sacrifice is mentioned in the Karma Kanda section of the Vedic scriptures are meant to encourage gradual development of self-realization. So accepting a Brahminical thread, accepting a vow of brahmachari, accepting the process, as the Prabhupada quoted in the purport of the text of today, they are wonderful process of Vedic rituals, part of the samskaras that is meant for the human beings. But if one does not know the purpose behind them, then the purpose is defeated. So Prabhupada reference in the purport of 46th verse of chapter 2, that in the 15:15 Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna mentioned that I'm the compiler of the Vedas. The Vedas are compiled by me. I'm the goal of the Vedas. And of all the Vedas, I'm to be known. And Prabhupada quoted a very famous verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd Canto, chapter 33, text number 7. That, oh my Lord, a person who is chanting your holy name, although born of a low family like that of a Chandala, a dog eater, is situated in the highest platform of self-realization. Such a person must have performed all kinds of penances, sacrifices according to Vedic rituals, and studied the Vedic literatures many, many times after taking his birth in all of the holy places of pilgrimage. Such a person is considered to be the best of the Aryan family. So it is amazing, it is bewildering that we see that even in Krishna consciousness, someone becomes so attracted to all of these ritualistic activities. But here, Aho Bata Swa Pacho Ga Giriyan, Prabhupada is quoting, she's quoting in the Srimad Bhagavatam, that for one who knows the purpose behind, it takes shelter of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. In the purport of that verse, Prabhupada is emphasizing that the chanting of the holy name of the Lord is the conclusion of the Vedantic process. Vedanta is the last word in the Vedic wisdom, and the author and knower of the Vedantic philosopher is Lord Krishna. And the highest Vedantist is the greatest soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of the Vedas. So when we are listening to Material Rishi Muni, as he's describing all of this wonderful creation to Vidura, Srila Prabhupada is making us understand here, the purpose behind all of this creation should not be forgotten, because that is the goal of Krishna consciousness. The purpose of this is to understand that Krishna is the ultimate goal, and that the ultimate process in Kali Yuga is the chanting of the holy name. Lord Krishna said the same thing to Arjuna in the chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. The last two verses of the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 10, verse number 41 and 42. Lord Krishna told Arjuna, after explaining so many of his creation to Arjuna, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, Yad vibhuti mat satwam, Sriman ujitita eva vaha, tad eva chatham, mam tejom so, samubhavan. That know that all opulence, beautiful and glorious creations spring but from a spark of my splendor. That is text number 41. And in text number 42, Lord Krishna told Arjuna, but what need is there for all this detailed knowledge? With a single fragment of myself, Lord Krishna said, I pervade this entire universe. And in the purport, Prabhupada was explaining that this creation of Lord Brahma, the activities of Lord Shiva, and all of the three Purusharthas are all just a minute fragment of the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the purpose behind them is to come to the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the Mahabharata, there are several stories. There is a story of one Mataji called Yogini. There is this story of Yogini and Sage Kaushika. According to the Srimad Mahabharata, Sage Kaushika was a very powerful sage. And according to the Mahabharata, he has studied all the Vedic rituals, the Vedic scriptures. In fact, Sage Kaushika is said to be a very powerful master of the Vedic literature. And because of this, he was so proud Sage Kaushika was so proud. And because of his proudness, he will go all about parading his knowledge of how much he knows about the Vedic scriptures. So one day, Sage Kaushika, he traveled to one village. And just as we see, even in Krishna consciousness today, sometimes you see people who have elevated themselves, sometimes in the gap of maybe a temple president, a sannyasi, or a senior ashrams, get so carried away. And because it is tradition that when one sees a superior person, one should offer respect. So Sage Kaushika was expecting this Grihastha lady, a householder woman, to immediately pay obeisances, seeing a sannyasi who is vast in knowledge, to pay respect to him. But behold, Yogini Mataji did not pay attention. She was completely absorbed in her household duties. And to expose the futility of knowledge without understanding the purpose behind them, Sage Kaushika got angry. And he was so angered that it was going to cause this householder lady. And according to the story in the Mahabharata, and he got the lesson, he left the scene very shameful. Because the Yogini, who is supposed to be someone who is not vast in knowledge, who is just a simple householder, told Sage Kaushika, say, my dear Sage, you are vast in the study of the Vedic scriptures. You are vast in the knowledge of all the revealed scriptures. But why are you being overtaken by the small symptom of anger? A person who is knowledgeable like you is not supposed to be angry. If you have understood very well the conclusion of the scriptures that you have studied, you should understand that one should never abandon his own duty for the sake of fulfilling the duties of others. I'm a simple housewife. My primary duty, dharma, is to fulfill the duty of my responsibility as a householder. That is not to say that it is not right to respect a sage or a senior person. Say, but why should you just get angry? Why do you get overtaken by anger? And the story tells that when Sage Kaushika heard this story, he became humbled and was ashamed that he could not control his anger. So the purpose behind studying or knowledge, accepting the vow of Brahminical vow, and all of the Vedic samskara are very wonderful, but only as wonderful as if they allow us, if they manifest in development of character. In another story in the Mahabharata, when the 5 Pandavas were exiled into the forest, Yudhishthira Maharaj exhibited the importance, the glory of developing the conclusion of the knowledge of the scriptures. In that story, the 4 Pandavas, apart from Yudhishthira, had gone to the river bank to fetch water, to quench their thirst. But because Yamaraj, the father of Yudhishthira Maharaj, wanted to glorify Yudhishthira Maharaj for his understanding of the conclusion of the scriptures, so he played these pastimes, and he manifests himself in the form of a yaksha, and he engaged the four brothers of judiciary, Bhima, Arjun, Nakula, and Sahadev. Although Arjun was such a powerful warrior, but he also got to fail the test of the Yakshas. But to glorify Yudhishthira, all of them, they came there and Yaksha told them, do not drink from this water, take this water, or else I will consume you. But because they were so proud with what they know, their power, their intelligence, so-called intelligence, they were seized by the Yaksha. But when Yudhishthira Maharaj got there, because Yudhishthira Maharaj understands, and the famous first question, the Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, say, my dear Yudhishthira, he told him the same thing, of course, as he told the brothers, don't take. And in a conversation, they both agreed that if Yudhishthira could answer the questions of the Yaksha, he will be safe. He will be safe, and he could take, fulfill his desires. So the Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj the first famous question: what is the greatest thing? What is the greatest wonder in this world? And Yudhishthira Maharaj answered, every day, countless, millions of people, living entities in this material world, go to the abode of the dead. Yet those who remain, they wish to live forever. So what can be more greater or wonderful, amazing than this? The Yaksha asked him, so what is the true measure of a Brahmin? As we're discussing the vow of Brahmanical order of accepting the trade, so the Yaksha asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, so what is the true measure of a Brahmin? And Yudhishthira Maharaj explained that it is not birth, it's not the study of the scriptures, but a virtuous character and conduct that makes one a Brahmin. So like our Acharya always says, when the ceremony of Brahminical initiation is going on, that we have given you this Brahminical thread as a part of the real samskara, but the real Brahminical quality will manifest only in your character. And how does it happen? It's only when one understands the purpose behind the Brahminical qualification. So the thread as created by Lord Brahma and every other aspect are wonderful, but one must understand the basis or the purpose behind them. As Maitreya Muni continued to explain to Vidura, he explained the four divisions of retired life. He talked about the Vaikanasas, Valakyas, and many other branches of the Renaissance order and the science order of life. They are all also created by Lord Brahma. But Lord Brahma was creating all of these. He wasn't creating them just because of, and Maitreya Muni was not saying this to Yudhishthira because they are just for wonderful hearing. The knowledge of all of these are very wonderful, but one must know the purpose behind them. So in the purport to that text 44, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the Varnashram order or the Varnashram Dharma or institution of the four divisions of and orders of social and the four divisions and orders of social and spiritual life is not a new invention. The fact that we do not even understand them in this age tells of the fact how limited the conditioned soul in this age are. In one of the purports, in the purport to Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, that verse I quoted earlier, Prabhupada was explaining that already in Kali Yuga, the living entity are so limited that they have no qualifications for even understanding, for even be able to study the Vedic scriptures. For one to be able to understand, when we look at the following text, after 44, they're talking about the science of logical argument, the very goal of life, the law and order, the moral codes. even in our material law school, to go to law school and pass out as a graduate, we spent almost about 20-something years of our life studying. And like somebody says, after studying for 20-something years, we come back after being graduated as a lawyer or as a doctor, after studying the subject science of logical argument or science, we come with most unfortunate language. I beg to apply. So one motivational speaker was saying that isn't it amazing that after spending over 20, sometimes some people spend 30 years, sometimes some people spend 40 years of their good life studying various branches of this knowledge created by Lord Brahman. And they don't even have the conclusion of, they don't even have the detailed knowledge that's explained here in the Srimad Bhagavatam. But when they finish all of that, and they come with a bowl in their hand, I beg to apply. And they feel they have achieved something wonderful in their life. So this creation of Lord Brahma is bringing to knowledge all the Vedic hymns. In this text number 45, he's talking about the moral codes, the celebrated hymns, Om Bhuva Swaha, the Gayatri mantra. These are all created by Lord Brahma for a purpose. They all forms the simple part of the samskara that a human being is supposed to follow. And they are all wonderful. But what is the use? What is the value? If it does not take one to the purpose behind the whole of this. And so this is why Srila Prabhupada mentioned in the purport to text number 42 of chapter 10 of Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada said that the Lord is all-pervading by the expansion of his partial representation, the super soul who enters into everything that is. Pure devotees, therefore, concentrate their minds in Krishna consciousness in full devotional service. Therefore, they are always situated in the transcendental position. Devotional service and worship of Krishna are very clearly indicated in this chapter in verse 8 through 11. That is the way of pure devotional service. How one can attain the highest devotional perfection of association with the Supreme Personality of Godhead has been thoroughly explained in this chapter. Prabhupada explained. And Prabhupada quoted a commentary saying that from Lord Krishna's potent energy, even the powerful sons get his power, and by Krishna's partial expansion, the whole world is maintained. Therefore, Lord Krishna is the worshipable Lord. So in the fact, in the verses that we're treating, in the text number 45, Muni was telling, thereafter, the art of literary expression, Usnik, was generated from the heirs of Lord Brahman. And Prabhupada emphasized, because all of this, as explained by Prabhupada in the next purport, are all sabda. They are wonderful pronunciation for purification of the living entity. The different art of writing. In the text number 47, Prabhupada mentioned, all of these are considered to be Sabda Brahman or spiritual sound. So Srila Prabhupada emphasized, and that is why when Srila Prabhupada started the movement, the devotees are very attracted. They will just go to because Srila Prabhupada has provided the word-for-word translation and in translation. So devotees are very attracted. They will read only the translation. So Prabhupada at a point in time started mentioning that it is important to study the Sanskrit. So, and that is why you see Prabhupada laid the standard. So when we're studying the scriptures, whether the Bhagavatam, the Bhagavad Gita, or any of the scriptures, Prabhupada laid a very high standard that we read the Sanskrit in Roman transliteration, we read the word for word so that we can understand, so that we can get purified by the recitation of this Sabda Brahman or spiritual sound, because they in themselves are potent, high power potence to purify. So the ultimate goal of all of this as Prabhupada mentioned in this purport, is that to come to the understand that all of this creation, as Prabhupada said in the purport, that the ultimate issue there is nothing is material, because everything has its origin in the spiritual world. The material manifestation is therefore called illusion in the proper sense of the term. For those who are realized soul, there is nothing but spirit. So the whole of these recitations or narration as given in this chapter about the creation, different creations of Lord Brahma, are to bring us to the conclusion. And what is that conclusion? To understand that Krishna is true Bhagavan Swayam. And as Prabhupada concluded in this purport, that everything is rest on this ultimate reality, that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God, the Supreme Spirit. And as he has said in 15:7, we're also part and parcel of that Supreme Spirit. Mama Ivan so Jiva Loke, Jiva Buta Sanatana. Mana Shakchan 3D, and Prakatistani, Koshoti. The elements are fragmented part and parcel of this Supreme Personality of God. So the ultimate identity is that of a spiritual being. And therefore, the ultimate engagement for that spiritual being is bhakti, devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God. And that devotional service to the Supreme Personality of God is made easy by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In this simple process of chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So as we read all of this wonderful creation of Lord Brahma, highlighting all of the different samskaras, different acts, they're so wonderful to hear. But one must come to the conclusion, as Lord Krishna told Arjuna, that I'm the compiler of the Vedic scriptures. By Lord Brahma is indeed the knower of the Vedas, and of the Vedas is to be known. So therefore, in summary, as we read text number 42 to 47, highlighting different creations of Lord Brahma, the focus is, the purpose behind all of this creation is to understand that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of God. And the ultimate endeavor is to come to that point where we surrender unto the Supreme Personality of God in devotion and service. Hare Krishna. So I'll stop here. There are questions, comments, contributions to these discussions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Sri Salika Prabhu, as always. It's interesting that this particular chapter has lots of verses with little to no purpose. So one good thing with that is it helps us move a little faster. We would love to go through the entire 12 cantos, finish everything before we leave this body together here. But the manner we study the Bhagavatam, most of us may not even get to Canto 9 before we say goodbye to the world. So when we have many verses that we need to cover in one sitting, it helps us get it closer there. If anyone may have questions, reflections, comments, realizations you may want to ask, share, please indicate by using the hand emoji or your physical hand. and be asked to unmute to ask your question or share your reflections. It's interesting. I do not know Sanskrit. I don't understand Sanskrit. Pastor Papa is giving us number of consonants, number of vowels, and I was thinking to myself, wow, lots of alphabets in the Sanskrit language.
Yeah, some of them we cannot even pronounce.
Yeah, I think in Chinese they have like 56 or something alphabets also.
Yeah, it's
so
amazing.
It's not easy. Yeah. Well, if anyone has questions, please you may raise your hand up and you'll be asked to unmute to ask your question. Hare Krishna.
When I was reading this verse as I was reading, I was just only remembering the purport to the verse I quoted earlier. And I wish the devotees should go back to that as we study this chapter 12 of Bhagavad Gita, which is talking about the creation. Prabhupada in the purport of text number 46 of chapter 2 of Bhagavad Gita, Prabhupada said, one must be intelligent enough to understand the purpose of the Vedas. Without being attached to the rituals only, one must not desire to be elevated to the heavenly kingdoms for a better quality of sense gratification. Prabhupada said just what you were saying now. He said, Prabhupada said, it is not possible for common man in this age to follow all the rules and regulations of the Vedic rituals. Nor is it possible to study all the Vedanta and the Upanishads thoroughly. It requires much time, energy, knowledge, and resources to execute the purpose of the Vedas. Prabhupada said this is hardly possible in this age. So therefore, the best purpose of Vedic culture is served, however, by chanting the holy name of the Lord, as recommended by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the deliverer of the fallen souls. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asked by a great scholar, Prakasananda Saraswati, why he, the Lord, was chanting the holy name of the Lord like a sentimentalist, instead of studying the Vedanta philosophy, the Lord replied that his spiritual master had found him to be a great fool and thus asked him to chant the holy name of the Lord, Krishna. He did so and become ecstatic like a madman. So therefore, in this age, Prabhupada said, in this age of Kali, most of the population is so foolish and not adequately educated to understand the Vedanta philosophy. The base purpose of the Vedanta philosophy is served by inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Lord. Vedanta is the last word in the Vedic wisdom, and the author and knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. And the highest Vedantist is the great soul who takes pleasure in chanting the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of the Vedic mysticism. So, as I was reading all of these verses of these creations and so many verses, in one of the texts that we are reading, Prabhupada was talking about I think that was text 46 or so, 46, text number 46 and 47. And Prabhupada was talking about the pronunciation. We see the chanting of these mantras. We see that sometimes when we want to read the scripture, there are so many devotees who cannot even recite the Sanskrit. And I think it's from 36, 46, 45, 46 forward. Prabhupada was talking about yes, Tristube, which and the Anustube. We see in the Bhagavad Gita like verses like maybe say like Am Savasya Prabhava Mata Sarva Pravatati. When we look at the numbers of words, they're different from the verses. Like for example, in chapter 10, most of the verses in chapter 10 are very long verses. And this Anustube and Tristube, some of us even doesn't know what it means. Talk less of how to consider them. There is a video one devotee from Mayapur did sometimes online, and he was teaching how to have these proper pronunciations, how to recite this. We see that sometimes someone wants to read in long verses, like sometimes when we read the Brahma Samhita, like Chinta Mani Prakasarasa Sadmasu Kalpa Vriksha. When some devotees want to recite a simple verse, like maybe text number 45 here we are reading, it says Tasyo Need. you see that it will not sound, the rhythm will not be there. So, and these are science in themselves. And just to study the science of reciting this could take one even 10 lifetimes to be able to perfect them. It is said that the effect of the Sabda Brahma, or the sound vibration or spiritual sound vibrations, are derived when they are pronounced in the right vowels, in the right sound, in the right tones. But how much of this can we do in this life? Even to read, even Srila Prabhupada's purport is difficult. So therefore, Srila Prabhupada advised, and I request everyone to go back to that purport, because as I was reading this, that was what was coming to my mind consistently, that all of these are wonderful and they're amazing, and we should study them as much as possible. But as we study them, we should understand the instruction of the giver of these scriptures to us. Srila Prabhupada's instruction is that these are all good. We can learn as much as possible, but we should not lose focus on the ultimate goal, because the ultimate goal of Vedanta, and Prabhupada said the last word in the Vedanta philosophy, it said the last word in the Vedic, how did the Prabhupada said it? Prabhupada said that the best, okay, so then go back to that place. He said, Prabhupada said, the Vedanta is the last word in the Vedic wisdom. Yes, Prabhupada said the Vedanta is the last word in the Vedic wisdom, and the author of the knower of the Vedanta philosophy is Lord Krishna. And therefore, the highest Vedantist, if you want to become the highest Vedantist, the highest knower of the Vedic scriptures, then Prabhupada advice, we should take pleasure in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. That is the ultimate purpose of the Vedic mysticisms. So the highest knower of these Vedic scriptures is one who chants inoffensively. Prabhupada said, inoffensively chanting the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Well, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question on Shabda Brahman, but we'll go to His Grace Govinda Prabhu, who has something to ask. Govinda Prabhu, please you may unmute.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Salika Prabhu. Please accept my respectful obeisances. All glories to you. All glories to Gurudev. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And all glories to the assembled devotees. And thank you very much for this wonderful presentation of Srimad Bhagavatam. Prabhu, you've said so many things, but the conclusion of your presentation is that upon hearing and learning all this wonderful philosophy is to bring us to the understanding of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and how to surrender to Him. So if you are hearing all these things and we are not surrendering, then what is the use? So the point is that we have to translate what we are hearing into a practical daily actions, and that will help us to derive the maximum benefits from our hearing, chanting, and our learning. But there's one thing that you also did mention of the holy name of the Lord, that it's not the first time, but it's a sum total of our practice of Krishna consciousness that Chaitanya Prabhu has given us, the chanting of the holy names of Lord Krishna. In our scriptures, Lord Krishna emphasized that of all sacrifice is the chanting of the holy name. In other scriptures, like Bible, is also the same emphasis is there. Psalm 113 verse 3, Romans 10:13, and also in Quran, the same emphasis is there. We also understand that when we chant the pure name of Krishna just once, so many amazing things happen to the chanter. And then again, we're also hearing every day that even though Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said there's no hard and fast rule for chanting these holy names, but we're also hearing every day that what we are chanting are just syllables. So we are only chanting syllables, so we are not actually chanting the pure name of Krishna. And then again, we are thinking that this lifetime we are going to go back to Godhead. So it's some kind of confusion here. We think we are going back to Godhead. We have been given the holy names of the Lord to chant, and again we are saying that we are only chanting syllables. So where do we belong? Are we really going back to Godhead? Or when we speak of not chanting the pure name of Krishna, but we are repeating syllables, what is this pure name of Krishna and how is it chanted? So it's like two questions in one. Are we going back to Godhead? Because that is our understanding, that by following the principles and chanting 16 rounds, rendering devotional service, we are going back to Godhead. That's what Prabhupada told us. And then again, we discourage ourselves by saying that we are only repeating syllables. So where do we belong? What is our faith?
Thank you very much, Paul. This is a very beautiful question. Why are we chanting if we are not able to properly chant the holy name?
I say we are repeating, we are just chanting syllables. We are not chanting.
But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave us the reason why we should chant this holy name, even when we do not have the qualifications. Like Bhakti Vinod Thakur in the Harinam Chintamani explains the different qualities of chanting the holy name. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saying the Shishastakam first. Nam namakari bahuja nijasari vasatis tatra pita niyamita smaranena kala eta dusitava kripa bhagavam mama api dudaiva midisamiya jani ananuraga. Of all the holy names, after searching all of the revealed scriptures, after searching all of the Vedic scriptures, this Maha Mantra, there's a verse like that. I'm trying to remember that verse in the Bhagavatam. It is said, after searching all of the Sabda Brahman, all of the Vedic hymns, this Maha Mantra is glorified as the supreme. And just by chanting this name, even the vowels of these names won't get purified. And one develops the ability to be able to chant the pure Sudhanam. And that's what Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. He has invested in this holy name, the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. This holy name has been invested with all that is required. Even if one absent-mindedly chant the holy name of the Lord, this chanting of the Hare Krishna Mantra, if one absent-mindedly chant that name, the name carries the potency of purifying the chanter. What to talk of pure chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So the holy name is not like any other name. I'm trying to remember the verse. There's a verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I remember as I'm going on. I'm trying to remember the verse. That after searching through all of the revealed scriptures, after searching through all of the Vedic literatures, this name, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, has been found as the medicine for those who are in this dense age of Kali. So even when we offensively chant, and we have seen that demonstrated even in our little preaching endeavor, that sometimes people, when they become offensive to devotees, imitating them, to trying to abuse them, they themselves get infected by the potency of the holy name. The famous story of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's protest and the Yankazi is a very life experience that we read in the scriptures. Like Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu staged a protest, and the Yankazi was trying to stop him, and he sent all of his army to go after Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates. And just by repeating the holy name, these people chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, they themselves became purified, and the Shankazi became bewildered, because all those whom he sent, they themselves started chanting the holy name of the Lord, because the holy name of the Lord is invested with the potency of the Lord, that it has the capacity to purify. But by engaging in Vedic rituals, one, because it is the Vedic rituals are meant to be engaged in a particular, under a particular rules and regulations or guidelines. But if one simply by chanting the holy name of the Lord, all purposes are fulfilled just by this chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So when we say that the conditioned soul is chanting just the vowels or the letters of the holy name, because it has been proven just by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself in his past times and in disciple succession, and even in our modern times, we have seen that if one simply just hear or partake, even offensively in chanting the holy name of the Lord purifies the chanter. So therefore, this holy name of the Lord, this chanting of the holy name of the Lord, is the medicine. Prabhupada will always give a good example, that a man who is suffering from the disease of jaundice, by nature, does not taste sweetness. When he's given sugar, it tastes bitter in his mouth. But by continuously taking that same sugar is the medication for that disease of jaundice. So the holy name, chanting in the beginning, in offensive mood, has the capacity, has the potency to purify the chanter, to come to the clearing stage. And from there, one can chant the Sudhanam, or the pure holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So it is not oxymoron, or it is not contradicting that we're chanting only vowels. We can chant all Vedic mantras and may not get the result. But if we chant the holy name of the Lord, because the holy name, this particular holy name, has been found. Arainam, Arainam, Arainam eva kevalam, kalau nasti, eva nasti, gati. That in this age, the only medication is prescribed. That is prescribed is just holy name. So even when we do not have the capacity or the power to be able to chant the holy name of the Lord has the potency to purify the chanter. And that is why it is recommended by the acharyas. And that is why Prabhupada was explaining that one who knows the purpose behind the very scriptures takes to the inoffensive chanting of the holy name of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Shri Govinda Prabhu, for the question. Salika Prabhu, thank you for the response. Governor Rob, do you have anything else to add to the response given so far? Because I have something to ask. I wanted to ask something about Shabda Brahman, which is kind of related a little bit to Governor Prabhu's question, but I specifically have a follow-up question to Governor Prabhu's question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Salika Prabhu, thank you very much for the elaborate explanation to my question. I've actually wanted to, I thought maybe you're going to say something about this pure chanting, because as we are, we're trying to become devotees, and so whatever is necessary for us to become devotees is what we're looking for, and I believe is the reason why we always meet here to hear Bhagavatam. So when we say that pure chanting, how is it chanted? And what is the mood, and how can one know that he is chanting purely?
Thank you. I'm trying to reference some verses from the Chintamani, Ragnam Chintamani. There's a verse in the fourth canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, I think I'll remember that verse. I'm trying to remember the verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and in the fourth canto, talking about the purpose of the holy name. Your question, you're asking that, how do one know if it's chanting? Srila Prabhupada will always give a very simple answer to this question. The taste is in the pudding. No one needs to tell you when you are getting full, when you're eating. A hungry man knows he's hungry. So there is no one who can tell you the effect of the holy name than the chanter of the holy name. As we read in the Papa's purport, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said that he has no knowledge of anything. The spiritual master asked him to chant the holy name. And when he chants the holy name, he just simply becomes mad and ecstatically jumping and chanting because of the effect of the holy name. So the effect of the holy name is experienced by the chanter of the holy name himself. No one can transmit the experience. One can encourage others by association of those who are chanting. One can get affinity, attraction for chanting the holy name of the Lord. But when one chants the holy name of the Lord, the symptoms of purification will manifest in the life of such a person directly himself. And then in the nectar of devotion, Srila Prabhupada mentioned that the first thing is that we automatically, by engaging in this process of chanting the holy name of the Lord in devotion and service, all anxiety start diminishing. One start experiencing happiness. In the characteristics of devotional service.
Is it Pharaoh? Is this Pharaoh? Sorry, come on.
Someone saying something?
No, you may go ahead.
Yeah. So Srila Prabhupada mentioned in Nectar of Devotion that simply by taking to the process of chanting the holy name of the Lord in devotion and service, one experiences all auspiciousness. And to the degree to the degree of the purity of the name that one chants, one gets this experience. All happiness manifests in the heart of someone who is chanting the holy name of the Lord. One starts developing the states for sense gratification. And several symptoms are given in the Nectar of Devotion by Srila Prabhupada. The characteristics of devotional service are mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. So, the first is that one gets relief from material distress. Every living entity in the material world is suffering due to different kinds of reactions in the previous and present lives. But when one starts chanting the holy name, Srila Prabhupada mentioned the first symptom is that one immediately start experiencing relief from distress, material distress. One start experiencing all auspiciousness in his life. One start experiencing transcendental pleasure. We've seen that sometimes devotees come to when one comes to the process of devotional service and they start chanting the holy name, we see it in the life of our acharyas. When Srila Prabhupada came to the West, and Prabhupada was telling the reporters that these young boys and girls, they are all frustrated. They were taking all kinds of drugs just to be happy. But yet they are not happy. So therefore, they have to continuously take the drugs just to fake happiness, just to fake joyfulness. But simply by chanting these names, they have abandoned all their sinful activities. They are no longer taking drugs. So in the early days of devotional service in the West, we all know about this Leela of Srila Prabhupada, stay high forever. Because when devotees start chanting, and they take so much pleasure, there's so much pleasure that is derived, and that is mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. So even in the beginning of devotional service, when one chants the holy name intentionally, even when one is not chanting the pure name, one experiences all auspiciousness, and that transcendental bliss manifests in the heart of the chanter of the holy name. And because devotional service is very rarely achieved, one feels himself as superior in all ramifications. So therefore, you see that devotees, even when they have known nothing materially, they feel satisfied because of the pleasure that is derived from the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So how do one experience that the holy name is having effect in his life? The first symptoms is that one's material distress, which is as a result of ignorance, is relieved. And one starts experiencing all auspiciousness. I hope that helps in a way.
Well, Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Yeah.
Shri Govinda Prabhu, thank you for...
Yes, that helped, Prabhu. Thank you very, very much.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for raising this important question, Govinda Prabhu. And I think part of my follow-up question has been answered in the follow-up question from Govinda Prabhu. So I would like to ask, Srila Prabhupada is talking about Shabda Brahman. Shabda means spoken word. That's verbal. Now, I was thinking, when you read it and it talked about it, I was thinking as I was sitting here, thinking about what does it mean if a word is not spoken, then what is its value? Because I'm sitting here, I have words in my head. If I don't pour them out, how would anybody know? But it seems that there are different domains where one needs not to utter a word, but the other person will understand. I don't know how to explain it, but there is such an experience where words are not spoken, but the communication gets through. Now, in our gross world of this material world, we have to speak. We may not speak, but even when we write it down, then we read. But my question is, what makes the speaking of the word so potent in our world that when it's not spoken, the potency doesn't seem to manifest as it is in other worlds? And we can deduce from Sri Prabhupada's paper that this Shabda Brahman is manifested in this world, but its root actually is from the spiritual world. So, in brief, how do we understand the power of word if it is not spoken?
Thank you very much, Sadi Prabhu. This is a very deep question, but I'll try to. The first and foremost thing is that we should understand that Sabda Brahman means Krishna. When you read the purport I referenced, and that's why that purport of Bhagavad Gita chapter 2, verse number 46 is so profound. Because when we say Sabda Brahman, we're talking of Krishna. Krishna manifesting in the form of sound. And any other sound, whatever that sound is manifestation of that same sound in different degree. A good example is energy. Energy is neutral, but depending on when it's manipulated in a particular way, it brings out heat. In another way, when it is manipulated, it brings heat. Same energy, when it is transformed into some form, it gives us a bright light. In some form, it brings dark or red or yellow light. So Sabda Brahma is Krishna, but it's manifesting at different levels. So depending on how and where it is manifesting Krishna in different ways. Just like sometimes they say the Jiva Atma is also Krishna, but a minute Krishna because it's a fragment of Krishna. So all sounds are manifestation of Krishna in different degree, in different circumstances. When the same sound, when Krishna is manifesting in the form or through the living entity, who is in a conditional state, because it's coming through that covered or conditioned form, it's coming out in impure form, or the original pure sound of Krishna is manifesting in a negative or positive because it has entered through the realm. And that is why Krishna says, all these manifestations is Krishna. but is manifesting at different level. So when someone is said to be a great sage and is reciting a mantra, and that mantra is taking effect immediately, what is the difference between when SALIKA does or Sadev is reciting the same thing? It is because of the channel that the sound is coming through that makes the difference. But sound in itself, or Sabda Brahma, is Krishna, but it's manifesting in different manifestations. Just like Krishna told Arjuna in that Bhagavad Gita chapter 10, last verse, these are all my manifestations. They're manifesting at different levels. These are different manifestations of me at different levels. There is nothing different from. So the Sabda Brahman, example is given sometimes. Milk is very potent and good source of nourishment. But that milk, when it has been touched and given out from the mouth of a snake, it becomes poisonous. Same milk. So Sabda Brahman is manifestation of Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the form of sound. Now, the potency it carries at different levels. I'm part and parcel of Krishna. I'm part and parcel of Krishna. Lord Brahma that is creating here in this text we are discussing is also part and parcel of Krishna. Lord Shiva is part and parcel of Krishna, but they carry different potencies. The same thing with the sound, vibration, or Sabda Brahma, or spiritual sound. The spiritual sound, as it travels through different levels of layers of manifestations, the potency manifests differently. So when we're saying we want to understand the original sound or the sound in its originality, that is Krishna. That is Krishna manifesting. So when he said the sound is pure and is effective, it is because it has not been polluted by the mind, intelligence, and ego of the conditioned living entities. Why is it that we are asked not to hear the very scripture or the recitation of Bhagavatam from smarter Brahmanas? The same Bhagavatam they are reciting, because it's coming through that same sound. It's coming through the different channel. And like we gave an example, whether we are reading it or it is the sound. In the same way, when the spiritual master is speaking, is reciting Krishna, and I'm hearing it and making advancement. Somebody else is hearing it and is making a gross fall down. I think I shared a story sometimes back. One initiation ceremony in Nigeria some years back in the mid-90s. One devotee, he has been in the movement for some few years. I think that was the year we took first initiation, and he took second initiation that day. And when he took the second initiation, after hearing the lectures that I hear, everybody hears, immediately the lecture finishes, he left the assembled devotees and he went to go and start drinking alcohol. And he became mad. And what was it? Because the same sound the spiritual master is vibrating, the same thing he had the mantra to his ears, and somebody is becoming advanced in spiritual life, but he had it and he became mad. Same sound. So, but it goes through his channel because his mind is already captured, is covered by the gross influence of the three modes of material nature. So that sound acted in a different manner. Just like energy, as I give example in the beginning, can manifest anything depending on how it is manipulated. So the sound that is coming from Krishna, or Krishna manifesting himself in the form of sound, is pure, but depending on how it manifests, it manifests a different effects in different circumstances. And that's my understanding of Sabda Brahman.
Well, Hare Krishna, thank you so much. I was remembering a pastime from the Christian Bible, where Paul, an apostle of the Lord Jesus Christ, he used to preach heavily, and he used to heal people possessed of evil spirits. So all he did was to say words like, in the name of Lord Jesus Christ, I cast thee to get out of this person. And the evil spirit will get out of the individual, and the individual will become freed. So some 2 crooks or 3 crooks, they observed Paul, and they realized that he didn't do anything special. He didn't say anything special. These are just the words he utters. And they also met someone who was possessed of evil spirit. And they said the same thing as Paul used to say. And the evil spirit said, Lord Jesus Christ, I know. Paul, I know. But who are you? And this evil spirit got on these people and beat the hell out of them. Same words. But one person says it, it works. Another person says it, it doesn't work. I also heard His Holiness Bhaktidhara Damodara Maharaj speak on this, that we are all chanting the same Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Why is it that some people chanted, there is results, others chanted, there is no results? Results means that we are actually missing Krishna. When we sincerely chant the holy names of the Lord, we will be missing Krishna. But in my case, I'm chanting the holy names of the Lord, and I don't miss Krishna. I'm not even thinking of him. I'm just repeating. That is where repeating syllables come about. Because if I were not just repeating syllables, I will be rolling, the hair on my skin will be standing on end, tears will be flowing. I sometimes may fake tearing up, but it's only a short time. So my understanding, and please correct me if you may, is that some of us are on different stages of chanting the holy names of the Lord because we haven't yet developed and prepared our hearts to receiving Krishna. And there is no loss because you have to start from somewhere to get somewhere. But there is a difference. And the difference is how much one has dedicated his heart to the Supreme Lord and feeling that even without a moment association with the Lord, I cannot live. If we have that feeling and we chant the holy names of the Lord, then there will be a positive effect. But this is my understanding and approach to these stages of chanting the holy names of the Lord and how the manifestation of the levels of God realization come about in our bodies. Hare Krishna, if you may correct me or say something in this regard. And then we have Srimad Vara Prabhu's hand up.
Yes, just before Srimad Vara Prabhu speak, actually you're not wrong. What you have said is the same. It's the same thing I was sharing summarily. The rainwater is a good example. The rainwater is pure, coming from the cloud. And as it's dropping, it drops on a muddy area. It becomes discolored. Same rainwater falls on the rock, it becomes crystal water. So divine sound vibration, as it passes through different conditioned living entities, who are on different conditional state of existence produces a different result. Headache, material headache, is cured by paracetamol. But there are some headache when you have the headache. If you use paracetamol, the headache will not go. Or even if it goes, it will come back because it's not just an headache, it's a symptom of another thing. So therefore, the effect of the name or sabda is dependent on the vessel at which it's being used. But let's hear Sima Brother Ashare Prabhu. And then, Brother Prabhu, please can you unmute?
Hare Krishna, Dandava Pranam. Please accept my humble business. All glories to Prabhupada, all glories to the Assembly devotees. Sorry, I came late, but still, thank God I had made something. So this, well, Sabda Brahma, like Prabhu explained, is Krishna in sound or spirit in sound. Brahma actually means spirit, which is also Krishna. So spirit in sound. And it's been explained that why sometimes when it is not spoken, when it is not spoken and it's understood, it's because there is love. There is love. And the example is also given that, and people may be sitting very close to each other, but when there is anger, which is absence of love, they may be shouting at the top of their voice, but nobody hears. When there is anger, the absence of love, and two people are facing each other, and they are shouting, and none of them is hearing the other. So when there is love, the sound, when it's not even spoken, but it's understood when there's love. So it's a very important point. When we look at it very deeply, we know that spirit is moved by love. Spirit is embodied by love. And when there is, actual love, in the interactions that we have with people, we need to say, we speak less and that things will be understood. And it's a good thing you, Sadi Prabhu, you use this other example of the apostles. So people who are able to affect consciousness through sound, it's also because of their love, the compassion they have for that person, and the spirit can feel it. Usually if somebody is deranged, is being attacked, or is under evil spirit. But if the person who comes to intercede, if it's full with love of God, that spirit can understand and it will leave the place. He knows he has not been attacked, he's been asked to move, and he can understand the mood. But if you go like you want to attack or you want to use power, then of course there is going to be a reaction if you are strong enough to stand that. So in all cases, love is the most powerful communication. Whether we speak it or we don't, whether we use words or we don't use words, but if there is love, then the message is always understood, even without communication. So anyway, that is the little contribution I want to make. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Srimad Varachara Prabhu, for that contribution. And actually, as you were saying that, and there is a similar experience, what you are saying recently. I was conducting a mediation session for two top governance leaders in some different parts. One is an American one, the other person is an European, but they are both on the very high level board. So they had some disputes. So, and it got so bad that one of them was saying, and they are supposed to be working together at the very top level, at the UN level. And then, so one of them said, and they're both on the same board. And one of them said, I cannot talk to this person. Even though they have something to do together, they are supposed to carry out something. He said, I cannot talk to him. I cannot even afford to talk to him. So during the mediation session, there was something that happened. And what happened was that, in relation to what you are sharing, was that one of the person is said to the other in the course of is giving his own part of the story. He said, "I'm actually sorry that I make you feel the way you feel." But the other person wasn't hearing that. And as part of the process of mediation, sometimes you have to recapture or rephrase the statement of the other person to the other person so that he can hear. So when that person said that, the other party did not hear anything. So in my reframing what he said to the other person, I said, "Mr. Brown said, I am sorry." And I used that sorry very emphatically, pronouncing it very clearly. Mr. Brown said, "I am sorry, even though I do not intend to offend you." And the other person immediately responded. She started laughing. And he said, the other person is a she. And he said, "How amazing is this?" He said, "Actually, I didn't hear him say sorry." He said, "But the way you're saying he said sorry is making me feel better inside of me." Just for the fact, just hearing it from you saying that he said, "I'm sorry," I'm feeling better in my mind. So what you're saying is true. When the art is pure, of course, without the purity of the art, love cannot sit, because love only sits. Love is a manifestation of purity of the art. When the art is pure, it manifests in the form of love. So when the art is dirty, it cannot exhibit or manifest love. So what you're saying is true. When love permeates the art, when the art is pure, is purified. And that is what I was trying to quote in the to the Govinda Prabhu's question. Actually, it's his 4th canto, chapter 8, text number 44, purport. And Prabhupada was saying in that purport that by chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra, one immediately concentrates on the sound vibration and thinks of the lotus feet of the Lord. And very quickly, one is elevated to the position of samadhi or trance. And Prabhupada was answering Govinda Prabhu's question when he was asking when we are not chanting purely. So Prabhupada said, if one goes on chanting the holy name of the Lord, which are not different from the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself, naturally, his mind becomes absorbed in the thought of the Lord. And by such, it becomes purified. So by that repetition of the name, because it carries the potency, because it is the Lord himself, manifesting in the form of the name, it purifies the chanter, and the chanter becomes purified and is able to feel the effect of the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. So thank you very much, Prabhu. I'm Sadita Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Grace. Please can you accept my respectful obeisances, all glory to Gurudev, all glory to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to you. As always, for stepping in, and all glories to wonderful and with devotees. Is Grace Study Pro, please, I was not here earlier, but please, did you hear from Mother Jayashri? What has happened? That's why he didn't come today. I don't know if you have heard anything from her.
Yeah, she sent a message saying that her son was admitted and was going to be going through a surgery. So she needs to be here for the son, so she could not speak today.
Oh, okay. That's what I wanted to share. That's the reason why she is not here, and the operation went on successful.
Oh, thank
you. As
you.
she sent the message, so please, all the assembled devotees, if we can pray for him, remember him in our prayers for his speedy recovery. So that is what I wanted to share. But I'm happy that he will be able to communicate. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for giving us the good news that the surgery went so well, and we pray by the double mercy of Guru and Krishna that he will get a quick recovery.
Yes, he's in a recovery process now, so it's a very, very wonderful news. Hare Krishna. Yes, Your Grace, I want to ask one quick question.
Please go ahead.
The holy name, which is divine name, which purifies every negativity. This holy name can someone also use this same name to produce something which is negative? Or the holy name can also only be produce only something which is positive and divine?
If I get you
I'm asking this question. I'm sorry for interrupting. I'm asking this question because, you know, and in Islam, when you hear kun fayakun, that means be. That is what it is said that when Krishna wanted to create a summit, in Quran, he said kun fayakun. It means be and it's be. But when we are little, we notice that some of the Malam, they use these words to do something, and at the end they will say kun fayakun. And so that's why I'm asking this question here. Is it possible for something like that to happen, to use the supreme name to produce something negative? Hare Krishna.
Yeah, the Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in the Arinam Chintamani described the holy name as Chintamani. Chintamani means that it awards you everything as per your desire. So like Sadhya Papa also mentioned when he was sharing some comments, the holy name can make you go back to Godhead, and it can keep you here. Because if your desire is to remain in the material world and you're chanting the holy name, is not pure Sudanam you're chanting. But the holy name, because it is Chintamani, will award you the result of your desires. But the beauty of the holy name is that if you continue chanting, if you continuously chant the holy name in the purport that I just referenced, the fourth canto, if you continuously chant, then the purity of the holy name is that it will remove that conditional desires or material desires. So, in answering your question directly, yes, the holy name chanted could award you, Krishna, fulfill your desires. There's a verse in the second canto where it is said, Akramasava kamuva mukcha kama udaradi Tivrina bhakti yojana jajita purisham param. That whether one has desire to accumulate all wealth, or he wants the yogic power, or which are all material, or even he is desiring to go back to God, you should chant the holy name of the Lord if he's intelligent. Because the holy name of the Lord can give everything. When one follows the path of karma yoga, one may be able to succeed, but he will have continuous repeated birth and death. So the holy name can afford you or can award you according to your desire, what you materially desire. But if you continuously chant, the holy name will purify those your negative desires. You use the word negative desire, and gives you the intelligence. And a perfect example in the scriptures is Dhruva Maharaj. Dhruva Maharaj was desiring a kingdom, which is material. But because he was chanting the holy name of the Lord, and because his desire was focused on the Lord, he got Krishna. He got the material opulence, he got the kingdom, but also get Krishna. And that is why Srila Prabhupada said in the purport of 10:10 of Bhagavad Gita also, that someone may be on the path of Krishna consciousness, but is very attached to material sense gratification, to material sensual desires. He's engaging in karma yoga. And if he's inclined towards knowledge, speculative knowledge, he's engaging in jnana yoga, not bhakti yoga. So, but whichever desire one has, he should chant the holy name of the Lord if he's intelligent, because the holy name can give. So the same thing, they're talking about kun faya kun. I remember in those early days also, we used to use it. When somebody offended us, we say we chant kun faya kun. And then when somebody pleases us, we'll still recite the same thing. So it is the same thing, actually. It's because it establishes the fact that the holy name of the Lord is Chintamani.
Well, Hare Krishna.
Yes, thank you so much.
Well, it's been 2 hours. We thank you all the devotees. Hare Chakravarti, you have something to add? Please give me on mute.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Dandava Pranam.
Yeah.
All glories to you, Salika Prabhu, and all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Gurudev and all glories to Prabhupada. Yeah, I'm just going back to the question Govinda Prabhu asked as to the chanting. How, and I think Sadev Prabhu also said something that made a follow-up question also. You know, we know that if somebody is in the first grade, like class 1, and he's able to solve calculus problem, maybe it might be a simple calculus problem, but everybody will claim that person to be a genius. So this boy is special, right? But that same boy, when he gets to, like, let's say 6th form or university, and he's solving that same problem, it wouldn't be a big deal, right? People, it's normal. At the university, you should be able to easily solve this problem. So that wouldn't be a big deal. And so I'm thinking that when we read the offenses against the chanting of the holy names, especially offense number 10, he says to not have complete faith whilst chanting the holy names and to maintain material attachment, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. So what do we say about that? In other words, does it make a difference? Does this offense against the holy name make a difference between someone who has been chanting for a while and is expected to know better, as opposed to someone who doesn't know anything about the holy name but who has just been introduced to it, and that the person might be chanting it with a lot of offenses, and yet he gains he gains tremendous benefit from it. So can you explain a little bit on it?
Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Actually, nobody punishes anyone. The living entity punishes himself based on his activities, in the real sense of it. When it's in knowledge, for an example, a man who is drinking alcohol, he doesn't know the effect of wrong in drinking alcohol. He doesn't know. He has no knowledge of it. He's just drinking. He thinks he's enjoying. While he's drinking it, he doesn't feel anything. It's okay. He's feeling normal. But somebody who has gone to at least material education, he understands that by drinking alcohol, it reduces his duration of life. It creates so many challenges in his life. Even if he's drinking the alcohol, he will not enjoy it like the person who doesn't know anything about it. So that is why it is said that it doesn't want offense to be inattentive while chanting in it. somebody who already knows and is still committing those. There are two categories, or maybe even three categories of persons in that situation. There are those who already they know that, okay, illicit sex is wrong, and they engage in it out of frustration, which is a weakness. And somebody who just intentionally is committing those sinful activities. The effect of the suffering are of different categories, but they all suffer, because in relation to the holy name of the Lord, when one knows the offenses against the chanting of the holy name, and he commits those offenses, he suffers more than one who does not know the offenses against the holy name of the Lord. Number one of the offenses against the holy name, in the purport I was referencing the other purport, said chanting inoffensively. So somebody is praying to God and is telling God, this person is my enemy, that person is my enemy, kill him for me. He's praying to God. He thinks God is, that is his perception and understanding of God. He doesn't know that it's wrong to pray to God to kill his own child. That's the level of his understanding. But for one who is on the higher level of understanding, you understand that Krishna is not an higher killer. That actually nobody is enemy. Nobody is my enemy, neither am I enemy to anybody. Even if you ask him to pray like in that manner, he will not be able to pray. If I tell Alika Shekha Prabhu, please pray for this person to die. Even if you agree to that, because maybe you are angry, like Kaushika, who has knowledge, but you are acting in anger. Right in the core of the heart, you'll be disturbed because you know that this is not right. So the effect of knowledge as it relates to the chanting is determined by the individual chanter. If the person knows and he commits those offenses, he suffers, even without being punished. He suffers grossly, starts suffering mentally before the real suffering comes, because he knows this is wrong. I don't know whether that helps in any way.
Hare Krishna. Well, thank you all devotees. Like I said, we've been here for over 2 hours. One thing I've observed is that this Srimad Bhagavatam is something. Oftentimes, the speaker would say, I have another engagement. I have to leave a little earlier. And this person ends up talking and talking and talking and talking, not stopping. And the audience who are also listening, they may also be wanting to do something else. They want to leave. But once the kata starts running, it's difficult to get up to go do anything else. But we are in the material world, and certain things also ought to be done. So we would like to bring this to a temporary close because we're going to continue again. And like everyone understands, Salika Prabhu, we can't thank you enough for rendering this service. Not many people can render the service the way you do it, because lots of people will have to prepare before they speak. But it's almost instantaneous. when you speak, and somehow Guru Krishna comes through and you speak wonderfully all the time. So we thank you for that. And devotees, we're going to humbly request you all to kindly unmute yourselves. And we all chant Hare Krishna Maha Mantra to express our deepest appreciation to our revered speaker, His Grace, Salika Prabhuji, for sharing his love and wisdom with us all, as always. Jai.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
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 Hare
Hare
Rama,
Rama,
Hare Rama,
Ram
Rama
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo Namaha.
Anantapati Vaishnava Vrinda ki.
Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Santra Srimad Bhagavatam class ki. Jai. All glories to assembled devotees.